Chris, what are the tea leaves on this?
Well, I really want to thank you, Counselor, for starting out the show the right way, because we're hearing a lot of gobbledygook today, people making straight line projections about this is definitely going to happen. It's definitely going to make Trump stronger. It's definitely going to make Trump weaker. This is the end of the republic. This is the beginning of everything. People have to relax. How this goes depends on what people do. We don't know what's in the indictment. Obviously, if Bragg has bed-sheeted Trump and he has charges that can't be sustained and they get thrown out of court, this would be great for Trump, right? This would be a great victory. He'd say, they came after me, I knocked it away, I'm the king. So that would be great. On the other hand, if Trump can't control himself, do this counterfactual. Think about what January 6th would have been like, the aftermath of January 6th, and Trump's chances to be president again would be if he could have controlled himself in the wake of losing the election. This is a similar moment for him. If Trump can behave himself, even a little, the bar is very low for Trump. If he can behave himself just a little bit and get through this with a modicum of dignity, then maybe this does help him. But we just don't know.
I mean, look, we do know this. He spelled indicted wrong, and it was hot. The reason he spelled it wrong was because he was hot, Anthony. He was hot, and he wanted people to know that he's a victim and that this is wrong. I love how many people are saying to me, I'm lying. I'm trying to hurt his reputation by saying he misspelled it. He didn't. It's right there, okay? You just don't belong to Truth Social. These thugs, radical left monsters, have just indicated he meant indicted, okay? He was in a rush. This is what happens. This is who he is. There's a sloppiness to it. But, Anthony, I wanted people to see what happened with Liz Harrington, okay? The audio tape played of Trump having the conversation with Cohen about this payment in front of Alan Weisselberg before her interview. I then interview her. I ask if he maintains that he didn't know what Cohen was doing. She says yes. That's the problem for me. She has to know that can't be true. She just heard her, her campaign client admitting he knew it.
Well, he's got a new batch of people, and they're doing the same thing that our batch of people did in 2016, and that is a little bit of cognitive dissonance and a little bit of ignoring the Trump theater. And so we did that. There was a lot of equivocation on the campaign. But Trump said this about the Mexicans. Okay, let's ignore it. Okay, he knew. The question is that going to make him go to jail? I think Chris is bringing up the seminal point, because we both know Mr. Trump's personality. If he loses his cool here and he goes full combustible, it will damage him. Okay, Trump is telling people privately, Chris, that he's very upset about this indictment. He's not pretending, this is going to lead to a landslide victory for him or anything like that. He's upset about it. He does not want to be indicted. Okay, he always thinks about his dad. He's got to be saying to himself, what would my dad be thinking about this, that I'm about to be arraigned in the city that he once loved, New York City. So it's a big deal. It's way bigger than the campaign wants to be. But I would just say to Ms. Arrington, I would say, please don't make the mistakes that we made in 2016. Hold to your principles and your character, and don't allow Donald Trump to move the goalposts like he did on all of us. And by the way, I speak about this as somebody that allowed that to happen to me, which I regret. And so I'm just sharing that information with her. Look in the mirror and know that he's lying, and accept it, and then make a decision that's less ego-based than the one I made, frankly.
So, Chris, it's under seal. There are 30 counts, okay? So now people are saying, well, how is one payment 30 counts? First of all, they haven't read a lot of charging documents. We don't know what's in this thing, but they can net up charges very quickly. It's under seal. Does it matter when the facts come out of what it is, or is that just buying us some calm between now and then?
Look, for, let's say, 70% of the country, it doesn't matter what's in the charges because they've already made up their minds. They've already said, for hardcore Republicans, hardcore Democrats, they already know the truth in their heart of hearts, and nothing will dissuade them from it. Donald Trump is either absolutely guilty or this is absolutely a witch hunt and it's totally wrong. At the margins, though, what's in there will matter. Because remember, right now, among a core group of Republicans, there are a desire to have somebody other than Donald Trump. They would prefer
60%.
Let's say the plurality, or maybe the majority of the Republican Party would rather have somebody other than Donald Trump. That's not to say they wouldn't vote for him in the end, but they'd rather have somebody other than Donald Trump. For that, let's say 2/3 or 60% of the Republican Party, as this process works its way through, they're thinking, do we want to drag this with us the whole way? Look at what nominating somebody under criminal investigation did for Democrats in 2016. It was a boat anchor on Hillary Clinton, and that was a much less famous, much less celebrated kind of corruption charge and all of that stuff. So there's a short-term bounce for Trump among core supporters, and there'll be a rally around the flag effect. How he comports himself, what's in those 30 counts, how that all goes, that will determine. There's a lot of football to be played between now and Tuesday or Wednesday or whenever he comes into court, and by the time we get into the heat of the campaign this summer.
Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, and you can find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button down below. Then you will get more of News Nation's fact-driven coverage.